Okay, thank you so much for coming tonight. This is exciting. I'm excited to do this presentation, this nutritional presentation, because of the topic. Tonight's topic is all about aging gracefully using organic nutrition. Now, we have a lot of information to share, so I'm going to keep this brief. My name is Rebecca Jacobs, and I am a functional nutritionist, and I'm joined tonight by my dear friend, Rico Smith. And I'm going to give him a minute to talk about why this is a topic that's also really near and dear to his heart. Those in their 70s and 80s, in the Bible, they've been described as having special mightiness, and that gray-headedness is a crown of beauty. So, and you caregivers, you're special because you show honor to these deserving ones. But so often they suffer from chronic health conditions that are caused not just by growing older, but because of dietary damage, such as diabetes or hypertension, heart disease. It affects many, but especially our loved ones, our aged loved ones. And the root cause of these isn't just growing old, or it's in our DNA, but it's the prevalence of processed foods, antibiotic use, gut health imbalances. And we're going to talk about 6 other challenges that our older ones have. Um, you know, Sometimes the perception is that eating healthy is expensive, or it's not convenient, or honestly, it's often confusing. So tonight, we're going to focus on 6 of these problems or concerns, and then their nutritional solutions. And then afterwards, we'll open it up for questions. But first, let me introduce you to my co-host, Rico Smith. I was very happy when Rico said that he wanted to help with this topic, because it is one that is very close to his heart. Rico, now you're a caregiver, right?
Yes, I
Now, how has this nutritional program benefited you? And do you have anybody else who has been able to benefit also from this nutritional program?
yeah, I really truly benefited from and still benefiting from this program because without this nutritional lifestyle, I wouldn't be able to do in-home care without being tired. I know before COVID, I was taking care of many people and I was always tired. And us as caregivers, we have to take care of ourselves in order to take care of others. If we don't take care of ourselves, then we're always going to get sick, and that's no fun. So the main priority is taking care of yourself as a caregiver. But my story basically, I was irritable, tired all the time, wanting to take naps. But because of these superfoods, I no longer have to take naps anymore, scheduled to take naps. And I have energy and I'm vibrant all throughout the day. And I'm just so happy that I'm able to have the vitality and the energy to take care of ones that are needing the help the most. And so I really appreciate mom's health example, her story. Um, yeah, mom, if you can share about how this nutritional program has helped you over the years.
Okay. Well, my name is Gail Montgomery. I'm Rico mom and everything. The sister, she came over. Her name is Ashley, and she see my speech wasn't clear and everything. So she know what was going on with me and stuff. So she fixed a power shake for me, and it seemed like it kind of wake my it kind of wake my brain up right away and everything. It took effect right away because I had the sleep disorder since I was like 9 years old. And my grandmother,
Yeah.
she put a spoon between my and between my mouth, so I couldn't swallow it. She saved my life too. But I really appreciate with this premium because it saved my life. And I no longer on Folgers in my cup no more for that energy to burn. And then I have energy. I dance, and yeah, that's with everything. I move my body, and yeah, that's with everything. Rico and I, we have went to this restaurant called the Yard House, and this lady, I said, "Do you have anything for seniors?" And she said, "How old are you?" And I told her my age, and she said, "No, you're not. I gotta see your ID because you don't look that age. You do not look that age." And I do not wear makeup no more or anything, just like a little lipstick. That's all.
And I do notice too that if I may add, looking at the before and after pictures of my mom, the inflammation in her face is gone. And she used to have like a lot of inflammation, and now she doesn't have that anymore, and her skin is a lot brighter. And she's just like she lost a lot of weight, so it really has benefited both her and I. And it's just such a fantabulous, if that's a word, program.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Uh,
That
and my
is that is awesome. That is so great. Thank you so much for sharing, both of you,
Oh,
your perspective as a caregiver, and then also from your mom's perspective. That is awesome. So let's get into our discussion. So I'm going to highlight what the challenge or the problem is that sometimes occurs with our older ones, and then Rico will give us the nutritional solution to that. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is malnutrition. Now, malnutrition, it leads to vitamin and mineral deficiencies and also blood sugar imbalance. The elderly, they're particularly susceptible due to reduced appetite. Sometimes medication side effects cause this to happen, or just limited access to nutritious food. So, Rico, what is the solution then to that?
Well, that is basically the power shake, which it's nutrient content. And the reason why it's so powerful and very helpful because it's equivalent to 6 microgreen salads. And so that's really amazing because you can't have, even one large family salad in its setting, let alone 6 of them. So that really boosts your immune system with nutrients dense superfoods.
Yeah, that's amazing. And those greens, because of the way they're grown, they have even more nutritious content than any other food that they could have. So, ounce for ounce, our older ones will get so much more nutritious food. The second thing is muscle loss. Now, muscle loss starts happening at 50. I was not happy to hear that. And then it steadily increases each year after that. Now, they experience changes in strength due to muscle loss. So then this leads to being more frail, an increased loss of or risk for falls. And then muscle loss also leads to incontinence. So the bladder is a muscle. And as the muscles weaken, then incontinence is one of those problems. Some think that muscle loss is inevitable, that it starts happening at 50 and there's nothing you can do about it. But there are some key things that we can help our older ones with that will help them to maintain their muscle mass. What are some of those keys, Rico?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Basically, it is the super amino 23. It's high, it's efficiently high in protein, which it's not taxing on the organs or fragile systems. So this is such a game changer because it really helps. It's like how people think that they need protein by eating protein, but our body doesn't know what to do with protein that people regularly eat. So this super amino 23 has a high absorption rate. So you really will get all the nutrients that it gives.
That's awesome. I love the super aminos. So the third thing is UTIs, chronic UTIs. Now, they actually lead to cognitive and mental health decline. And it's a frequent challenge for our elderly. In fact, a caregiver in my area, she shared with me that the leading cause for hospitalization or going to the ER for her clients is a UTI. And it turns out that new evidence suggests that there's a correlation between an unhealthy gut microbiome and recurrent UTIs. And then the more that they understand about the frequent use of antibiotics and how that also affects gut health, then that makes the problem even worse. But yet that is what is routinely used for treatment on our older ones when they get a UTI. Another thing that's really interesting about gut health is the gut-brain connection. So poor gut health leads to a malabsorption of nutrients. Again, exacerbating our malnutrition, but also because of the gut-brain connection, they suffer from cognition and mental health decline, all because of gut health. So what can be done for an unhealthy gut?
Well, we have the biomedic, and basically it's a probiotic and a prebiotic. And the power of the biomedic is to rid the body of toxins like glyphosate. Glyphosate, basically, in a nutshell, is the main ingredient in Roundup, and we can't wash it out nor cook it out. So, I was just at the department store and I noticed that there's so much Roundup everywhere. And it's popular. I mean, people buy it all the time. People think the regular solution is to spray Roundup, but that's also a disruption with everything else that's living. So that is very toxic. And so this is shown to disrupt the good bacteria in the gut, as well as disintegrate the walls of the gut, which lead to autoimmune disorders.
Yeah. Wow. So much happens right there in the gut. That's they call that the soil that everything else grows in, right? So we want that soil to be really healthy. Now, sleep disorders is another thing that happens with age, especially with women, I think, but I think men suffer the same. Um, Older people have more insomnia, sleep disorders, but it's true that as we age, we seem like we need less sleep. Our sleep patterns definitely change. But because sleep is such a pillar of wellness, we want to make sure that we're doing all that we can for our older ones to really supplement their sleep, and what causes that deep restful sleep where they get to regenerate their body. So what about sleep? What can they do for that, Rico?
I gotta say now that sleep is like my favorite part of the day or the favorite part of the night because I sleep so good. And basically, it's with the apothecary and now the pineal clear, which highlights actually it helps produce natural melatonin.
Mm.
And it's the pineal clear helps with taking your dreams 5 times
Mm.
better. And also with the apothecary, it helps to reduce inflammation as well.
Mm.
And so that those two, mixing those together with some water and a little ice and maybe a lime on the side,
Mm.
it's really a game changer.
Yeah, that is true. And there's only one ingredient in the apothecary, and that is tart cherries. That's it. Organic tart cherries. So, so good. Easy to take, and it really does help our body. Now, the next problem is parasites. Now, this is not something that we normally think about, but I'm going to tell you some of the symptoms, and then you can tell me, oh, yeah, that might be an issue. Now, parasites are organisms that we all have on and in our body. So the problem is when they get to be in abundance, too many, and they start taking over things in our body, like the absorption and utilization of our minerals. Now, when this happens with our older ones, this leads to electrolyte imbalance and low energy. But they also interfere with red blood cell production, which can cause anemia. So even though it's not our first thought, it's definitely one of those things that we can add in to our program of helping them when we see that they have some of these symptoms. So what can we do for parasites, Rico?
Well, we have the Super Cleanse R, which you do this parasite. It's basically a parasite cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean is it cleans the parasites out of your body, but also the eggs that it leaves behind. So you're getting that deep, concentrated cleanse of your gut, and you would be able to feel the effects because like me personally taking the super cleanser, I noticed that my skin has gotten clear
Mm.
because it's cleaning you it's cleaning out all the toxic from your gut. So it really, really is powerful.
Wow, that is really cool. Now, the sixth one is decreased immunity. As we age, our immune system tends to weaken, making us more susceptible to infections and illnesses and complications, resulting in a depressed immune system. But 70% of our immune system is actually housed in our gut. So now from our conversation, we can see how important it is to protect their gut. So, by introducing whole foods and doing the protocol that we talked about, that's important. But what else can be done to improve immunity?
Well, we have the powerful zinc aid, which is vitamins A, C, D, and E, and that really helps with taking care of ourselves, building that strong immunity, so to speak, so that we won't get sick. And I know zinc aid is definitely a regular staple in our house because a lot of times, you would get sick during winter,
Mhm.
but with the zinc aid, you're not, it's just the opposite. Your body is so strong, you hardly get sick. And so I know that's personally in my case.
Mhm. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Um, Now, the last thing, kind of a bonus that I wanted to talk about was dehydration. Dehydration can have some very serious consequences. Some of them are UTIs, kidney problems, confusion, dizziness, and then this increases the risk of falls. But simply taking in more liquid is not always the answer. Many times our older ones hesitate to drink water because of incontinence issues. So then that makes the problem even worse. Our brains are 77% water, and a change of just 2% can have a dramatic effect on their cognition. But the body cells need to be open enough to take in and absorb the liquid. And since keeping that balance is so important to their electrolytes, it's important that we don't take in so much liquid that it makes those electrolytes out of balance. So the key minerals like magnesium, potassium, and sodium are important. Is there anything that's easy to do that they could introduce for that, Rico?
The ionic elements is very powerful because it has about so many minerals that your body needs. And I used to put it inside my apothecary at night.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's good.
yeah, and actually I was, getting sleep before the pineal clear came out. But the ionic elements is so good for you. And actually you feel more energized, taking the ionic elements and also putting it in your power shake too helps as well.
Yeah, there's over 70 different minerals in the ionic elements, in addition to those ones, the magnesium, potassium, and sodium. So it's really powerful and very easy to use. Just a couple dropperfuls in the power shake, like you said. So we've been focusing on the nutrition and wellness of our seniors and elderly. We talked about how important it is for caregivers to also fortify their nutrition so that they're able to care for them. And it's a very simple program. So please get back to the person that invited you or passed along this information and get more information about how you can easily implement this. But we have a little bit of time, and I have a very special guest here tonight, Angie Fernandez. And I wanted her just to tell a little bit about her story with this organic nutrition line. Angie, can you unmute and tell us a little bit about your story?
Well, first of all, Becca, when you were discussing all of the great research that you did, boy, I kept saying, boom, boom, boom. And at our golden years, we think we're going to feel just like we were years ago. So there was two things that really stood out that I could relate to completely. First of all, when you talked about UTI and you talked about women, not just women, but my husband was sent to the hospital emergency with the UTI, not knowing and not having much signs, but real clear. I mean, for him to call the ambulance on himself, it was pretty bad. But yes, us women, UTI is a common word. But knowing that, I mean, how serious it is, and now, I mean, he got sepsis and was literally completely almost gone. It was very difficult. So preventive, now when we think about preventive, we think about how we can do that. And I'm glad that you brought that subject. I mean, there's a lot more. He's diabetic. Well, diabetic. So diabetes, high blood pressure, and then he was in the hospital for all these things. I mean, everything was wacko with the sepsis. But I'll tell you that since he's been out, heart attack, I forgot to mention heart attack. So when he got out, he was in the hospital a total of 100 over 90, close to 90 days. It was, well, no, a month and a half given, because but when he got out, actually when he was there, I snuck it in, some of the power shake with this doctor's permission, not the staff. But he took the program very serious. And I'm telling you that having the whole entire program, the whole entire kit helps. But I mean, I have to remute these. I mean, they're completely empty. I have a lot. So we use this a lot, and this really helps us to get our gut cleaned at pro and prebiotic. But it wasn't just that, it was the whole program. He was sent home with hospice. And I remember a doctor told us he's a ticking time bomb. Well, now he is a ticking time bomb because he actually ticks a 1.5 miles of a walk, and he is no longer taking that diabetic shot. And his number is now 6, his A1C. So, and this has not been, I mean, he's consistent. Normally it's very difficult to get a 71-year-old man to change something he's so accustomed to. But that's why 90 days is so important, because it takes that long to really get a pattern going. And he makes his own shakes. He gets up, he's thinking, he goes on shopping and he knows what he wants to buy. He's taken this step very, very serious. But as for me, I mean, he'd already seen my life transform because I do battle. One of the things I noted here, because I could relate to bone loss. I had I mean, I went through of course, I have several autoimmune that I battled. But one of the things that I did recently find out is my bone loss because of a hysterectomy. And, you know, as we get older, our hormonal balance does change. So our bone, we do get very brittle bones. And we end up either getting a hip replacement, or we get our knees replaced. We get, our bones just deteriorate. But can we prevent them? Yes. And we have such good evidence on a product that we have that has made a difference in that. Of course, you know, we stock up. We don't just take what it says. We stock up because we know that that's the kind of protein that our body can digest. And me having an autoimmune and digestive and gut issues in the past, it doesn't affect my kidneys or my liver. And as soon as if I crush them up, it hits me pretty quickly.
Yeah,
But
that
thank
is
you.
so.
I wanted to be brief, but I really appreciate this, because I was like, you know what? Cognitive, all these other things, we can all relate.
Yeah, for sure. That is awesome. We never get tired of hearing you and your husband's story, because it really affirms to us the power of organic nutrition. So, you know, we started our discussion talking about how important it is to care for our older ones. Some of us are getting older ourselves. Some of us have parents or grandparents that are in those years. We want to do what we can to help them. We want to do what we can to help ourselves, because we could be the caregivers too. So organic nutrition really is for all of us. So if you're listening here, if you're new to the Purium community and you want to learn more, we encourage you to take that step, make that decision to say, I want to take care of myself and my loved ones, and then get back to the person that invited you or gave you this recording, and they would be happy to tell you more. So thank you so much. Thank you, Rico and Gail and Angie, for coming tonight, and everybody else that supported us. And anybody that would like the recording, please let us know. All right. Have a great evening.